What's up, everyone? I'm Andy Coronado, and tonight I am joined by my gang, Elias Grigoriadis and Hadi Rafael. Gentlemen, how are we doing? It's the first Monday in a long time that we don't have to rush for a hockey game right after because it's the World Cup, baby. How you guys doing?
Yeah, we're fine. I'm sorry for all the Habs fans
Oh yeah.
that Canadians lost, and we're not happy that this happened because Andy made it sound like we were celebrating because they lost. Not the case. We watched every
So
game. Like
disrespectful, Andy.
oh yeah, exactly, Andy. Man, what's going on,
It's
my
just that
friend?
I'm a
Unbelievable.
fan of so many losing teams that I just kind of laugh and
Oh, so
smile every
Montreal's a
time.
losing team now. That's
No,
what
no,
we're.
no,
They
no.
made the
Miami
conference final
Dolphins.
and they're
Just look at my
losers, huh?
background. All the losing
All
teams in
right,
my
all
background.
right.
You know. So,
Fucking at Andy's take 88
Yeah,
goal.
yeah.
Cancel Andy now.
I
It's a wrap.
no cursing for the first 5 minutes. All right, welcome to episode 263 of the Ball is Round, ladies and gentlemen. The moment you've all been waiting for is finally here. The World Cup break has officially begun, which means we are inching closer and closer to the biggest football tournament on the planet. We are now just 10 days away from kickoff, and here at the Ball is Round, we couldn't be more excited to bring you the very best coverage throughout it all. But before we dive in, we're joined by one of the most recognizable voices in Quebec soccer. And if you haven't heard of him, well, you must be living under a rock. Please join us in welcoming the one and only Arcadio Marcusi.
Ça fait plaisir pour vrai. Tant que nos Canadiens jouaient, on dirait que Mère Nature, elle n'arrivait pas à enclencher le mode été. Toujours un petit peu frais, toujours un petit peu pluvieux. Mais là, tu vois, on dirait que c'est parti. On a eu la parade de la victoire samedi matin. On peut passer en mode Coupe du Monde enfin. Et aussi, on peut passer en mode premier vendredi.
Je suis très heureux de vous annoncer que l'équipe Route 2026 sera présente lors de cette édition 15e anniversaire du rendez-vous culinaire festif par excellence de Montréal ce vendredi entre 16 et 23 heures.
Et comme la vie fait souvent bien les choses, le Canada jouera son dernier match préparatoire avant de lancer sa Coupe du Monde face à l'Irlande, à quelques pas seulement du Parc olympique au Stade Saputo. Alors si vous êtes passionné de foot, amateur de bouffe de rue ou simplement de passage au premier vendredi, venez nous dire bonjour, on va vous faire visiter le camper, vous raconter comment est née cette idée un peu folle de traverser le continent pendant 40 jours et surtout échanger avec vous sur cette coupe qui s'en vient chez nous, notre coupe, parce qu'au fond, ce projet-là, Route 2026, c'est aussi votre histoire. On a très hâte de vous rencontrer avant notre grand départ le 11 juin prochain. On se voit vendredi. Ciao, ciao!
Eh ben voila! How are you doing, Arcadio? How do we find you today?
Very good, boys. Good to see you, and thank you, Andy, for that great intro. Now I have a lot of pressure to live up to that hype.
Oh, you thought this was going to be easy. Oh boy, we're just getting started. Well, thank you so much for joining us. You're here to talk about your project, but first we do want to do a little bit of catching up, Arcadio. Can you catch us up on what Arcadio has been up to over the past few years? Just maybe give us, what you've been up to.
Yeah, well, life's busy, and the past few years, well, people remember me. Maybe the soccer community in Montreal remembers me from my time in the media landscape, covering CF Montreal and international football. And then in 2020, when the pandemic hit, I started working at the club as responsible of media relations. I did 3 years in-house at our beloved club. And then in 2023, in the summer, I left for a corporate job in communications. So even more in the background than I was at CF Montreal. I kind of left football part-time because right when I stepped out, it sucked me right back in because I started working with Apple TV on the CF Montreal home games. A magnificent gig, a beautiful opportunity as an associate producer. So I'm more in the background now, and for the past couple of years, I've been doing some strategic communications, freelance, and consulting for organizations, brands, in sports mostly. So I'm been very fortunate to have great clients and partners in that venture. But I was really missing, the action, the boots on the ground coverage, and what better than a World Cup? What better than a World Cup in North America to maybe do something crazy, as I did back when I covered the World Cup in Brazil and then in Russia in 2018. I couldn't be in Qatar because I was working at the club back then. But we're back. We're back on the World Cup road, And this year, literally on the road, because we're going to do it in a camper as a road trip for 40 days. And well, we will talk about it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I've been up to. And that project's kind of been consuming most of my time a lot of my time for the past 6 months. And I would say for the past three, it's a full-time job because it's a large scale project. It's very exciting, a lot of moving pieces and great partners involved. So yeah, I'm super happy and really can't wait to leave. To leave. It's unfortunate because World Cup games would have been great here, but yeah, we're leaving on June 11th. We're going to Toronto for the first Canada match, and then we're off for 40 days of crazy road trip adventure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you know what? I think you speak to all of us and like Hadi and Elias and the listeners by saying, we try to leave this world because sometimes it pisses off so much, everything that's going on, but it sucks you right back in. And then when the World Cup is in the calendar, I mean, you have to do something crazy, Arcadio. You have to do something. So let's go ahead and talk right about the project. Tell us a little bit. I know you said you worked in the World Cup and other World Cups before, but tell us, how did it start? How did that idea maybe come into your mind? Like, what was it? Tell us a little bit about how it all started.
Yeah, it's funny that the origin story of this road trip of Route 2026 is the day Canada was given the World Cup with the USA and Mexico. I
Oh
was
wow,
there
back
in
then.
Moscow. Yeah, I was there in Moscow at the FIFA Congress because it was 1 week before the World Cup and I was already there. And I think aside from the TSN guys, I was the only Canadian journalist in the place, or we were like five tops, three or four, like with the TSN crew. And it was historic because that's where the FIFA members voted for the committee, the North American committee, to host the 2026 World Cup. And I had the chance to witness Alfonso Davies's
The
speech.
speech, yeah,
I
nice.
think he was 17
So
back then.
moving, so moving.
It was super moving, and as an immigrant myself, and I know you guys are as well, it really touched me because it meant a lot, and it was really felt and honest and authentic. And I don't know, that idea came at that moment because I was like, hey, we're hosting a World Cup in North America. I've always been like very, I always loved road trips, and like a camper road trip was like my kind of one of my bucket list goals. And to that came super naturally to try and mix those two bucket list items to cover a World Cup at home and like massive road trip across North America. And yeah, it's been brewing since then. It's been 6 years, but yeah, a lot of water under the bridge. I've been around back and forth, a lot of experience, and I think all the experience in the corporate world that I managed to get in the past 5 years helped me a lot, bringing this project to life. So yeah, I'm very grateful. And yeah, when as you say, Andy, like it's a difficult business. Sometimes it's very ungrateful, and but at the same time, we're passion driven. So that's what drives us. And what I mean, what better than a World Cup to fuel that passion? And yeah, I mean, the context is amazing. So yeah, I'm super happy and very, very grateful to be able to put this project, to build this and to be able to take the road soon. So yeah, I can't wait.
Now, as everybody knows, once a World Cup starts, it's nonstop. It's all gas until the final, basically. So, what can people kind of expect from Route 2026, maybe on a regular basis, and maybe kind of go into more depth about what the overall vision of this project is?
Yeah, there is a vision, of course. I don't want to sound like marketing, but like I think people need to expect the unexpected, because that's basically what we're going after. Of course, we're planning a lot. We want to be super prepared, leave nothing to like chance, and the least we can to fortune. But at the same time, there's a lot of opportunity during a World Cup for great encounters, for meeting interesting football people and people from across the globe, and fans, and artists, culture, visiting new cities. the life on the road as well. This will be a huge dimension of this project as well. So documenting all that, it's like a storytelling journey basically. So obviously there's the sporting side, which is super important, and luckily I got the confirmation a couple of days ago that I was accredited for the cup
Congrats.
so,
Congrats.
yeah, thank you. The request was I put the request in February, so I was
Yeah,
kind of
they're
nervous,
so late. I've heard
but
so many people saying, "Hey, I didn't get it yet," and
yeah.
people sweating that because they didn't get it. So
It is. Yeah, we would have done the trip regardless, obviously, but it brings another dimension, obviously.
of course,
That's
We
amazing.
don't need a different envelope, like budgetary envelope for like World Cup tickets, which is which is good.
yeah,
So yeah, budget wise, it's good, and also well, access wise, is gonna bring the trip to another like dimension as well. But for us, the main thing also, games aside, obviously, and football aside, is the cultures. Telling the road, telling the small cities between host cities, how those locals live the World Cup. Do they care about it? Are they feeling it? It's all that those things that we're gonna discover. Through the journey. Also the food. Like meeting people, and I mean, it's gonna be nice. I say this without any type of pretension, but I want to do my kind of personal and very humble little tribute to one of my idols, Anthony Bourdain, and like kind of live that type of journey and story, and to sink it, take it all in, and try to share it as much as we can with the people that will follow us and that will embark with us with the camper and through the journey. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I have the chance to be with Steven Fares, which is my creative director and head of content. He's a super talented guy, a friend of mine. He works in football as well as a photographer. I met him when he was doing photography at the CF Montreal games, and he's like great creative guy. He works with a lot of top creators across the globe, and he was super like drawn by the project. Obviously, as a football fan, who wouldn't? So yeah, and he's gonna be my eyes. He's gonna be the eyes of the story, and we're gonna tell it together. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm super happy to be able to work with him and to bring this to life for all football fans in Quebec, but in Canada as well, and hopefully across the oceans, because it's a World Cup, and we're gonna be able to tell it in English, in French, in Spanish. So
Oh man.
yeah, man, let's do it.
Now, whether in person or online, where are people going to be able to find you, find the content, find the storytelling? How can they contribute, right? Whether support or helping the project grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that, Elias. The on social media, it's Route 2026 live. So across all platforms, it's pretty much the same handle, and we're gonna share a lot of content, obviously, on social. We were lucky enough to have as well a couple of traditional media partners, such as Cogeco 98.5 FM. We're gonna be pretty much on a daily basis on the radio with Mario Langlois and the evening sports shows on 98.5 FM and across the Cogeco network in Quebec, which is huge, to kind of make this project shine and throughout the province. RDS as well. We're gonna have some pre-game interventions in the whole cities before some matches. That's to be determined, but I'm super happy to have obviously the official broadcaster of the World Cup on board. It's quite a honor. Super grateful that they decided to be on this adventure and to be a part of it. So yeah, and we're super happy to be a part of their World Cup broadcast, which is always amazing. So yeah, it's gonna be RDS, it's gonna be 98.5 FM, social media, obviously a lot of it, and we're in talks with different partners to maybe do some like daily content as well online, like for podcasts and stuff like that. So yeah, that's to
Ooh.
be determined. There's a lot of announcements that will be will be made in the following days and before the departure. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting ecosystem of digital and traditional media to follow Route 2026.
It's amazing, honestly, Arcadio. Like you're giving me like the World Cup vibes. I can feel it. I see your enthusiasm. It looks amazing. Yeah, it's going to be an amazing project, and we're going to be here to follow it here on the Ball is Round. That's for sure. You can count on us 100%.
I appreciate it. It's June 1st. I mean, it's World Cup vibes, man.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
It feels like really special. It's like, okay, we're finally here.
Exactly. But you know what? You have this project that's really amazing. But at the end of the day, this project came from something, came from your passion for the game, came from the passion for football. I think since you were very small, you watched, football games. So let's go back to the football. Let's go back to the soccer. And it's time for predictions, my friend. So I hope that you're here to give us your predictions.
Arcadio didn't know.
What are your expectations for the World Cup?
For the World Cup predictions or like
Predictions.
So I go with the winner and that's it. Or
Yeah, just go for the winner. Yeah.
Okay.
He's gonna say the obvious one.
No, but I want to say Argentina, obviously, or I would love to say Canada in a realistic way as well. But no, I think Argentina is part of the conversation for sure. I think the group and the core is pretty much the same as in 2022. Obviously, bit older. Messi, physically, we don't know. It's still a question mark. There's going to be a transition World Cup, or is it like the end with you say, okay, now he can retire and he can do whatever he wants and that's it, it's done, or it's going to be a transition a bit more painful or for everybody, because not only for Argentines, for everyone that loves football. I mean, just to think it's going to be Messi's last one, it hurts a little bit, right?
Yeah, it does.
So
you'll have others.
So yeah, maybe so. So yeah, Argentina I think is part of the mix, but I wouldn't say they're favorites to win the World Cup. I mean, you look at France on paper, and it's just scary. They could build like 3 World Cup teams for like 3 different countries. They've invaded, like they've colonized so many. They could give back. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's
Arcadio just did the most Argentinian thing ever. You asked him a question and he gave you 3 answers. Arcadio, who's gonna win the World Cup?
No, I'm getting there, bro.
He said he wanted to say Argentina, but he
Yeah,
said it's
that's
France.
That's it. No,
We all know it's gonna be Greece, man. Come on.
Greece, yeah. All right,
the favorite for me, the favorite by far is France. It's like a monster of a team. The talent, it's insane with also the momentum of PSG. They
What? Never heard of this club.
Yeah,
Never
sorry, Harry.
I've never heard of them.
I know the allegiance we share for.
But he has issues.
So yeah, no.
And you have 3 players of Marseille in that Argentina.
Yeah, of course.
Argentina squad, right? So
yeah, well, they're gonna have fun a little bit for once. I'm happy for them. So yeah, I mean, France has the swagger, man. France has that like world champion, like I'm gonna destroy everybody, like kind of energy. So for me, France is the favorite. Spain obviously can make a play in there. England maybe, who knows? So yeah.
Okay. Another question for
France,
you.
France is gonna win the World Cup.
Okay, he said it. Did you hear?
It's on record.
Okay,
it's on record. It's clear.
Now, if you had a dark horse, a team that has never won the World Cup,
yeah,
who do you think would take it all? That has never won the World Cup before.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. That's a good one. 48 teams. I mean, it could be, right?
If you look at 2022, Morocco was
I'm gonna go with
very close.
With I think a prediction that it's not like crazy, and that I would love to see if it has to be like that type of scenario, it would be Morocco, for sure. First African team would be amazing. In North America, I would love that. And yeah, Morocco, I mean, they deserve it. They're playing, like great football. They have a great project going. They've invested so much in incredible infrastructure for so long. And aside from all the shenanigans, the The AFCON was amazing, so I think it was a testament of what's coming in 2030 as well. Another amazing World Cup in Morocco, Spain, and Portugal. That would be another
That's gonna be fun.
camper road trip, I think.
Nice.
Talk to my let's see this one how it goes, but brother, this could become a blueprint. But no. All jokes aside, I think I would say Morocco. It would be my dark horse. A very good team that could repeat a little bit what they did in 2022, and that could, why not, win the World Cup.
Yeah, interesting. And of course, I'm pretty sure it's the question that everybody asks you, but we're just very curious. If it comes down to Argentina versus Canada,
Moment of truth.
which jersey would you wear?
I dropped my World Cup.
Okay.
I don't recognize that. Can you show? My country's never seen it.
All right.
He's avoiding the question. He doesn't like the question.
No, but like he answered in a way.
Arcadio, moment of truth.
Yeah, Canada or Argentina. I went through that experience.
Yeah, exactly.
In Copa America.
Twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was surreal. Yeah, twice, but like in Copa America quarterfinals, right? Is like it was very, very cool, and it's something that 10 years ago I wouldn't even have,
Of course.
the courage to imagine, and it was a great game. It was I was happy with the result, obviously, but I would have been either way. That's what I'm, and it made me realize I made a huge barbecue that day with my family, my friends, and everybody was cheering for both teams. It was really cool, man.
Awesome.
And that I'm not 50-50. That's what I realized. I'm not 50-50.
You're
I'm
100.
I'm 100% Argentina and 100% Canada.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh,
That's it.
I can understand you. Like, it's
That's
crazy.
it. And yeah, of course.
But there's no bad result,
Obviously, being born in Argentina, I migrated to Montreal when I was 10 years old almost.
Mhm.
So all my core memories from football are mainly from La Selección, obviously.
Mhm.
And I had the chance to witness Maradona in 86. Those are my first soccer memories ever. So it runs deep, obviously. But also having worked in Canadian football, in the media and in different aspects of it for the past 15 years now, I feel like I'm somehow, and I say this with the utmost humility, but we're builders. I'm a builder, you guys are builders, and we're a tight community, and we're making a difference. And when I see Canada having success, obviously I feel a part of it. And I want to be a part of it, not only as a Canadian, but as a part of the football community, the football family. So for me, both are super, both run very deep for very different reasons, obviously. But I care deeply for this Canadian team. I know many of the boys as well because I've worked with them at the club. It's amazing to see Jesse also having success with Canada being the first manager of l'Impact back in 2020 and 2012. It's a lot, a lot of storylines that are amazing and that are clearly undertold within our media ecosystem and within our sporting culture, if we have one, in Canada and Quebec. Like, I think people have the sporting culture, but we need more outlets. We need more people like you guys, and more people investing in projects like mine and making it happen. So yeah, I think for all those reasons, I 100% Canada, man, behind them all the way. And if we make a deep run, and it's not that crazy of an if we make a nice run in this World Cup, there's going to be a before and after. There's going to be a before and after regardless, because on the institutional end and the investment end, on the infrastructure end, this World Cup will clearly leave like a big legacy, and also in the minds of the kids and the people as well across Canada. But if the team manages to make us dream, and bring that magic, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I agree. And just to let you know, I just hope that Argentina is not going to do the same thing as Germany in '94 and '96, where they had too many old people, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, it didn't go very well for them. I don't know. I have that feeling. I have that Germany feeling from Argentina. I hope I'm wrong.
It's not
I
a
hope I'm
feeling.
wrong.
You wish. I mean, you can.
No,
You can
no, no.
say
I'm not. I'm not. I'm not.
That's
I'm
another
not.
podcast.
I'm not anti-Argentina, but you
No,
know.
it's okay.
This
That's
guy,
okay.
Oh, the
man.
lights gone on. The lights gone on. All right, let's go. Let's try into.
It's getting dark in here, man.
Listen, Arcadio, muchas gracias. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for stopping by and speaking to us about your project. On behalf of our team, we hope that this project is successful. We'll be keeping track of it. We wish you nothing but success in the next few months, weeks. Like you said, there's going to be a before and after. We're going to be there for it all. So thank you again so much for stopping by and letting us know about your project.
Thank you, boys. It was great talking to you. I love you, and can't wait to see you. I haven't been to a CF Montreal game this year yet, but I can wait to see you all boys soon.
Yeah, we're gonna see you. I will be there at the Premier Vendredi, so I'm sure you
Amazing.
go pass by and say hi.
Let's eat some tacos.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Thank you again, Arcadio. Have a good one.
Ciao,
Take care,
boys.
man.
All right, hey, that was amazing, guys. It's the World Cup. We're past 5 minutes. It's the fucking World Cup, guys. We're there.
Whoa, Andy,
It's
chill,
time.
man.
It's time, man.
Family
it's going
friendly.
great.
What are we doing here,
Oh,
man?
sorry, that came
So
out of left field.
unprofessional.
We have somebody that told us a little. Keep up the great work. The ball is round, guys. Elias, Hadi, we are out here. We're rocking and rolling for our listeners, for those of you that are here week after week, listening to us, or we're doing what we can to continue producing content via TF Montreal, Rose FC, FC Super, and now World Cup. We're here for it, and we're gonna dive right into the Canada roster. What do you guys say? But before we dive into the fun stuff, as always, quick little message for y'all. If you like The Ball is Round, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. And it really helps the show grow. Keeps us bringing you more content every single week. Please don't forget, drop your thoughts in the comments. What did you make of CF Montreal, FC Super, Rose FC, or the Canada men's national team during the World Cup? What needs to change? What stood out to you? We read the comments and we want to hear from you. Make sure you're also following us on all social media for daily updates, clips, and breaking takes covering everything CF Montreal, Rose FC, and FC Super to Quebec, as well as the Canada men's national team during the World Cup. Packed show tonight. So let's stop wasting time, guys. Let's get right into it. So Canada Soccer released their roster for the World Cup, even though there have already been a few updates in the last week. When was it that I think it was last week? At some point last week that they announced it. Jesse March
They
made
announced their big camp, right?
Yeah,
Not
Friday.
the squad.
Right.
Oh, last
But
week,
the
yeah,
camp.
it was the 32, and yeah.
But the actual roster, they announced it recently, right? So
Friday.
Jesse
On
March made
Friday.
his official selection for who's made the World Cup squad. Elias, you want to go ahead and show us the overall picture of the squad?
Oh, I don't
And then
have
we'll
the
break
overall
it down
picture. Hold on.
position. We don't have it. Great. So we'll start by
Nobody told. No, this is not in the script. I'm sorry. This is so unprofessional of
What
Andy.
script?
I
We
can't
do
believe.
it. What script? What script? We wing everything. We don't script anything. All right. So let's
Oh, then
start.
you can't be mad that I don't have the full squad. It's on Canada's Twitter. Let's get to the content.
Yeah.
It's on
You
on
see
the
how I
national
smile
team
even
Twitter.
when I'm mad, right? All right, so let's start with the goalkeeping
This guy,
position.
man.
In the goalkeeping position, we have Maxime Crépeau, who plays for Orlando City in the MLS. We have Dane St. Clair, who plays for Inter Miami in the MLS, as well as Owen Goodman, who plays for Barnsley in League One in London. All right, guys. So we're gonna do the same drill for every position. I'll ask you guys to grade the position as well as who should. Maybe another additional question. In this case, for the goalie, it'll be who should start. So, Hadi, I'll start with you. What would you give what grade from A to F would you give to the goalie selection?
Can I just talk about the grade too, or just the grade and shut up then?
Yeah, sure. Say the grade and then what?
Yeah, well,
It's in the script.
honestly, it's not. Honestly, honestly, I think the goalkeeper position is like the one where we have the most question marks. When I look at the squad altogether, for me, we're not really sure that we have, that grade A keeper that's going to be able to carry the team. Thank God we're not we're not a hockey team, because it would have been worse.
Much bigger,
But yeah, no, I would say a great C. The reason behind it is our two top goalkeepers, who are Sinclair and Kripo, have had a terrible beginning of the season in MLS, unfortunately. We can't blame everything on them, because the two teams that they represent have a very bad defense. First of all, Inter Miami, not only they have a bad defense, but they don't really care about defense. Exactly, they don't really care about defense.
It's optional.
They prefer to win 6-5 than win 2-0, which I think the fans are pretty happy with it. No, not really, because they did a strike against the players.
That's not because of the defense. That's because of a whole other mess of
yeah. But I said because the fans are happy, but they're not really happy.
No, the fans are happy. But the fans are never happy.
Never,
it's Miami,
exactly.
man. Let's be honest here. The fans are never happy.
and second of all,
kids,
you have
man.
Kripo. You have Kripo that's like legit playing in a team where there's just no defense at all. Orlando conceded 44 goals. 44 goals. Like, that's not normal. And you know what? He made 63 saves. Of course, he's the top in the MLS with 63 saves.
When you face 100 shots.
100 shots in like what?
20 games.
10?
No,
15 games. 15 games. That's crazy. That's crazy. So at the same time, you can't really blame the keepers, but going into the World Cup, I am personally on the fence of, do we have what it takes at that stage, at the World Cup stage, where it's the best teams in the world facing each other? Do we have that? So for me, it's a C. But at the same time, I think that Maxime Crépeau and Dane Sinclair are still very good keepers. Elias,
see, I kind of agree with you, because I agree with the grade. I'd give it a C plus, because I do think that come national team time, it's a different kind of level. But I agree with you that it's definitely not Canada's strongest point. But I do think it's a much more clear cut case of who's the starter. The starter is James Patenis.
Even Jesse March doesn't know.
Let's start with James Patenis.
Just because he's Greek.
No, in all honesty, I do think that Dane Sinclair is the starter, not just from not just from the MLS performances, but also performances wearing the red. I think that he's just been more consistent. I think he commands the box more, and I just in general, I think that right now he inspires more trust. If this was still John Herdman coaching, then there would not be a debate, because John Herdman, you had to commit capital punishment to kind of not get selected once he liked you. So I don't think that I personally don't see that much of a debate unless Maxime Crépeau pulls up to these two friendlies and plays outside of his mind. Then it's an entirely different story, right? But I don't. Right now, I think it's a bit more clear cut than at other moments in the post 2022.
You answered the second question, Elias. You didn't answer the grade.
I said I gave it a C plus.
Okay.
You just never listened to me.
All right, moving on. So next we got this is gonna go great. And my camera's shutting off. Things are going crazy.
One sec. I didn't answer the second. Hey, you're going too fast. No. But
who should start?
I thought you just pulled an Elias and just didn't answer the question.
No. No, but you said C plus, and in your opinion, it's Dane Sinclair.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's Maxime Crépeau, and the reason behind it is very simple. Maxime Crépeau had been with the national team for a long time, and when I say a long time, Dane Sinclair too, but has been an integral part of the national team, playing a lot. He was the number one behind Borjan. And unfortunately, he missed the 2022 World Cup just because of injury. And in a way, I think that Maxime Crépeau is a bit more clutch than Dane Sinclair. In his saves, Dane Sinclair is pretty good. But in his saves, I feel that when you have Crépeau, there, like a miracle can happen.
Copa America.
Yeah, exactly. A miracle can happen.
It's a good point.
So I feel that even if, in my opinion, Dane St. Clair is better suited for Jesse March's way of playing, 100%, I feel that Maxime Crépeau will get the nod just because, the history that he's had with the national team and, of course, the Copa America. Now, we all know that Jesse March said that tonight each one of the keepers will play one half of the game. So we'll see. We'll see what will happen and the decision that he's going to take. Usually, the one that will be selected will be in goal on Friday.
Interesting. So we're about to find out in a little bit. Okay, moving on to defense. If you can, we have Moise Bombito, who plays in Nice, and Hadi's favorite team in Ligue 1, and Derek Cornelius, who plays for the Rangers in the Scottish Premiership. In Scotland, Luc de Fougerolles, who plays in Fulham Premier League in England. Alistair Johnston, who's very well known in around the CF Montreal community, who plays for Celtic in the Scottish Premiership in Scotland. Alfie Jones in Middlesbrough Championship England. Richie Lorea in the team that must not be named, MLS USA. Nico Sigur from Hajduk Split in the HNL in Croatia. And Joel Waterman in Chicago Fire in the MLS. All right, same draw as earlier.
Andy,
grade.
you're missing somebody.
Who did I miss?
It's kind of a big name.
Who did I miss? Derek Cornelius?
Alphonso
Davies. He's in my midfield, that's why. I put him
He's
in
not a
midfield.
midfielder.
Okay. So grade the position.
Thank God he's not a midfielder anymore.
Depends on
I'm not
which
sure.
games you're
I'm
watching.
not sure.
It depends on which game you're watching.
I'm not entertaining this.
But we're not doing that right now. Just grade the position, okay? If you want to include Alphonso Davies, that's okay. Grade the position A through F. And Hadi, why? Why do you choose that grade?
No, you can let Elias start this time.
I'm including Alphonso Davies because he's a defender.
Yeah,
Jesse Marsh's best bit of coaching has been to return to left back, and also when the national team put out their roster, he was listed as a defender. So I'm going to keep him as a defender for that sake, fit or not. I think right now this back line, assuming everyone is healthy, this back line is a B plus. I think they're perfectly well suited to play Jesse Marsh's brand of football. I think that, when you look at Derek Cornelius, Moise Bombito, Alistair Johnson, Alphonso Davies, which have been the prototypical starting backline when everyone is healthy, then you have the added punch of Alfie Jones and Luc de Fougerolles in the middle and the experience of Joe Waterman. That's fantastic. And then you have the depth of Nico Sigur and Richie Lorea, who are both have proven themselves phenomenally at Copa America as really important pieces. You have an incredibly dense defensive core. I think it's arguably their strongest position. It's definitely their deepest. And I really hope that everyone is fit in time, because with that will be what wins them games. We talk about how, high powered and how, exciting that these new attackers are. That's one thing, but the back line is what helped them get that far in Copa America. And it's what'll help them get to the next level in this group.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with everything that you said. The only thing that I don't agree with is the grade. In my opinion, we're at B minus, and the reason behind it is because of the lack of games that they've played this year.
That's fair.
And Moise Bombito for me should be in the top club. And when I say top club, like in the top
Champions
20
League
or
club.
top 20 to the top 30 in European soccer. The problem that he had was this injury since December, I think November or December.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while, and the problem is, does he have the match fitness required to play at such high level? And that's what worries me. Even if he's fit, does he have the sensations to work at that level? I know what I like about Bombito is that he's strong, he's tall, but especially he's super fast. And
he's one of the fastest central defenders in the world.
I think the fastest. I'm not even joking. I wouldn't
be surprised. I don't know the numbers, but just
Me
You
neither,
know,
but like
watching him
I
play,
think yeah.
he's insane. He's unbelievable. His recovery speed, you can't play that style of football without him. You know.
Exactly, exactly. The second part of my explanation is Derek Cornelius. Also hasn't played since December, lacking match fitness. Yes, he's fit. That we know. He's not injured anymore. He was injured, but when he came back, Rangers was doing so well. The manager didn't want to put him in a starting 11. Will he be? Will he have match fitness in order to compete at that level? And don't forget, guys, we're playing a team like Bosnia in the first game. Bosnia, we'll talk about it later, but like the physicality is going to be
Mhm.
super important against them. And do we have what it takes in that center back, in those two center backs, match fitness wise? I'm not really sure. Now, to talk about the positives, because now I only gave negatives, but to talk about the positives, and Alistair Johnston on the right, for me, is so undervalued. This guy is one of the best right backs in his football IQ that I've seen in MLS.
Mhm.
His football IQ is so amazing. He has a vision. He knows exactly what to do on the pitch and when to do it. I feel that this guy is so undervalued that it could play in our favor. And at the same time, he does have match fitness. He was injured, so he's fresh because he didn't play much, but he did play. He
But he
played
did
six
play. He
games
finished the
before,
season. Yeah.
so he's fresh and he's going to be super hungry. And you know what? At 27, I think he's 27. I'm pretty sure, yes, he wants Canada to win, but at the same time, he's sticking to the future. He can get to a bigger club than Celtic after this World Cup if he has a good World Cup. So that's the positive there. And of course, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be super interesting. B minus, I think, is my score for the defenders, but still a very good back line if everybody's fit, as you said, Elias. I agree with you.
All right. So, is there anyone in particular that you guys are keeping a close eye on during the tournament? It's kind of a two-part question here, and I want you guys to answer it together. So, who are you keeping a close eye on, and who do you guys think needs this tournament to go well? Now, I know you were saying earlier before I know I asked the question, what grades do I give? Now, I'm going to be pretty harsh because we're gonna go back to a goalkeeping. At least what I think of it, I'm gonna give it a D. And I'm not saying because they're bad goalkeepers. Okay, I'm not saying because they're bad goalkeepers, but I just don't know how much those three goalkeepers are proven in the international level, and especially with the kind of results they've had in the MLS level. And well, I haven't really seen Owen Goodman's stats. I have to see it more to study it, but I just feel like they have a lot to prove. So that part position, in particular, the goalkeeping position for Canada, I'm a little bit concerned. Just because, again, I think they have a lot to prove this tournament that they can actually be at that level. For the defense, I will give it a C because I think on paper those are very good players. But as Hadi, as you mentioned, those are like some of those players are coming back from injury, and there's a lot to be, again, are they going to be at 1,000%? Are they going to be at 50%? Are they injury prone? We don't know how good of contributors can they be to this squad for the World Cup. So a little bit harsh my grades, but that's just kind of where have more questions than answers in those positions. But go back to you guys. So again, the question, Elias, since we started with you, we'll start again with you. Is there anyone in particular that you have a close eye on, and which player needs this tournament to go well for them?
I'm having a really close eye on Luc de Fougeron. I think he probably has the highest ceiling
Yeah,
of the core that have not, at least have not proven themselves, right? Alfonso Davies is world class. Alistair Johnson very well could be playing in a top 5 league for a top club. You know, we saw Moise Bombito, who has, again, that same potential, but Luc de Fougeron has an insane high ceiling, especially with what's required from modern day center backs. He's quick, he's intelligent, and he's fantastic on the ball. I kind of agree with Hadi in that the Bosnia game is going to be a very physical test, and I don't know how he would fit next to someone like Moise Bombito. You need that kind of physical oomph, and also just the chemistry that Cornelius and Bombito have together that will probably put him over the edge, at least for that game. But Luc de Fougerolles, I think for me, in this season, especially, has become the clear cut third option at center back. And I think, Joe Wadman was there. I think he's got a good shot. Alfie Jones made it in. We didn't really talk about Ralph Priso not being selected. I was very surprised. I think that, when we talked about the training camp roster last week, we said that, Luc de Fougerolles, Moise Mbito, and Derek Cornelius are locks. And I thought Ralph Priso was going to get him because the aspect of that left-footed center back is so rare. And in modern day football, having someone like that who's athletic, who reads the game well, and who's technically proficient is worth its weight in gold. So injury or not, I think that he should have been included. He's not. So, I mean, we're not going to be delving into hypotheticals, but I think that Luc de Fougerolles is by far the most interesting defender on the team for me. Who do I think needs to have a good tournament? There's a lot of people I think need to have a good one. But like Hadi said, right, Moise Bombito should be playing at a top European club that is consistently in Europe, that's consistently fighting for even the knockout stages in the Champions League, whether he's a starter or a rotation player. And I think he needs this tournament to go smoothly to kind of back up that hype. Because like we said, right, Alistair Johnston and Alphonso Davies are firmly established defenders in Europe. Derek Cornelius just made the move to Rangers. Moise Bombito needs to get to that next level. And I think he only does that if his World Cup goes without any problems.
Hadi?
Yeah, a lot of things. I really want to answer a couple of things that you guys said. First of all, just to answer you, Andy, about Owen Goodman. Honestly, it hasn't been very good for him this year. Honestly, he went twice on loan from Crystal Palace in League One, I think. Twice he lost his starting job.
So
Twice.
am I being harsh with the grade with the goalies, or is it fair to give them
I think
questions than answering the
is a
position?
little bit harsh, but Owen Goodman, look, all I'm going to say is that, who didn't get his starting spot taken from him?
Yeah, we know. But no, but honestly, even if I look, he's 23.
Why is he so
He should be able to have a starting spot in a League One team. Like losing his starting spot twice. First of all, in Huddersfield Town, and then in Barnsley, where he was started, and the last two games he didn't play. I'm not really sure about that. I'm not like a big follower of Barnsley, but losing his spot for the last two games of the season for me is not looking good for Owen Goodman. Now, when you grade, goalkeepers, Andy, you don't grade the third goalkeeper; you grade the top two. And honestly, yeah, I agree with Elias. I think it's a bit harsh. I would go like the lowest I would go is D plus, but
Okay,
D is a bit too much. Like D is like Qatar, so like we're far from that.
Okay,
So,
well, I mean, look, it's just to
no,
me,
but
it's
your
more
choice.
about more questions than answers in the position.
Of course.
And if anything, that whole room of goalkeeping needs to have a huge tournament. But anyways,
100%.
go on,
100%.
Hadi, go ahead.
100%. And to answer your question about the defenders, so first of all, I completely agree with Elias with the Fougerolles. I completely agree. He's the prospect, guys. The guy is 20-year-old. He plays for Fulham. He was loaned to Belgium to FC Dender. FC Dender, Belgium is not a very it's a very good league, right? And it's not, of course, not in the top 10 in Europe, but still, it's a very, very good league.
Underrated.
He was a first team starter like every game he was on the pitch. And you know what? For a 20-year-old, going and being a starter in a team that's fighting to stay in a top division, the guy took so much experience out of it. Unfortunately, the team didn't go through and got relegated, but still the experience that this guy has acquired is amazing. And at the same time, we're talking about the fact that we have a problem on the left side of the defense, right? Luc de Fougerolles can play as a left back. He'll be maybe a more defensive left back, but that will liberate Alistair Johnston and let him go, further up and forward and get those delicious crosses over, because he's so good at crossing, Alistair Johnston. So there's something to play with here with Luc de Figeral. Maybe he'll be the one that would surprise us in that World Cup. And finally, the one that could gain a lot from this World Cup, and I think needs to have a good World Cup, is Derek Cornelius. And the reason behind it is that the guy is under contract with Marseille. And you guys know I follow Marseille very, very well. So he wasn't that bad last year. But unfortunately, when Roberto De Zerbi came, no, sorry, 2 years ago, he decided that he doesn't need him in the squad. He went to Rangers, and then, which is, of course, it's not the same type of league than Ligue 1, the Scottish league. It's a bit less important.
Significantly lower.
Exactly. So he went to Rangers and he lost his place. And right now he's going back to Marseille. So if he has a good World Cup, first, the new manager of Marseille could take a look at him and say, you know what? This guy is good enough to be in the rotation, or any team that's interested into his services is going to be able to bid for him. So he's playing the future of his career in Europe in that World Cup, in my opinion. And this is going to be super important for him. So for me, it's Derek Cornelius that really needs to have a good World Cup.
Now, I'm going to say I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Nico Segura, because I do think that he and I think he'll be my player also that I want to keep and that I think needs this tournament to more than anything solidify himself in the position for the Canadian national team. He's young, and I think he has a lot to prove, not only to the fans but also to his teammates, that he can be the next big thing in the defense. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the midfield. Okay, so on midfield we have Alphonso Davies, who I did not miss, Bayern Munich, Bundesliga, Germany. Ali Ahmed for Norwich City in Championship, England. Tejan Buchanan from Villarreal, La Liga, Spain. Mathieu Chouanier from LAFC, MLS, USA. As well as Steven Eustasio from LAFC. Ismail Kone from Sassuolo, Serie A, Italy. And Liam Miller from Hull City Championship. Jonathan Osorio from the team that must not be named, MLS USA, Nathan Saliba, Anderlecht, Pro League, Belgium, and Jacob Schaffelberg. Guys, I'll give my grade right away. I think this position is Canada's strongest. I think I would give them maybe B+, because not only of the... I almost have a hard time saying who the starters are, but how much like rotation you can do in that midfield and still be a decent midfield. I really think this is Canada. I know I was very harsh with the goalkeeping and the defense as well. I said there's a lot of question marks in the midfield. I'm sorry, but I think Canada is probably at their best there. I don't know who I started with earlier. I think it was Elias. How do you go ahead? Give us your grade on why.
Yeah, honestly, I will say my grade is a B. It's a B just because of the injuries. It would have been a B+ if there wasn't any injuries. It's a B because I think we're locked on the right side. We're locked in the two in the middle. It's just on the left side, it's going to be tough because you're not really sure who's fit enough to take that position. And that bothers me because if everybody's healthy, you have a ton of choices in every one of those positions. But right now, for me, it's a B because of the injuries that we have on the left-hand side. And of course, you know, the fact that Marcelo Flores is not here. For me, he was a lock there. The fact that he's not there anymore, for me, is a problem, knowing that Ali Ahmed is a bit injured, that Schaffelberg is injured, that, you know, everybody's injured. So we have Liam Miller that has a great year with Hull City and got promoted to the Premier League. He was, honestly, guys, I think that's another one of very undervalued player in Canada. Liam Miller had an amazing season with Hull City. He exceeded expectations, 33 games as a starter there, 3 goals, 5 assists. Yes, he's not very decisive, but he helped his team clinch promotion. And the fact that he's able to play offensively but also help out defensively is very interesting. Yeah, no, I think a B is pretty good for the midfield.
I should write down these grades that we're all giving the position. I should have written it down somewhere. Elias, go ahead. What's your grade
It's
for the
okay. They're
midfield?
recorded forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, I'm kind of with Hattie, not necessarily because of the injuries. I'm going to give it a B minus for two reasons. A, the injuries make life infinitely more difficult on the left side, like Hattie said, and B, I'm not a fan of this team in a 4-4-2.
Okay.
I don't think they have the right profiles to operate efficiently in a double pivot.
What's
Yes,
what
Steven
what?
Eustáquio,
But is it really a double pivot?
100%.
You think it's a double pivot? Like I think
Just
play.
because they step in, one drops, and vice versa, whatever, depending on where the ball is in the situation, right? When you have Ismail Kone and Steven Eustáquio there together, they're both very similar profiles of footballer, and I think that right now when they're playing in a 4-4-2, especially with what's asked of them from Jesse Marsh, they may not be a traditional double pivot, but they act it as
Yeah.
effectively, right? Because you have the wingers that are pinned to the sidelines.
Yeah.
You have excellent flank fullbacks in Alfonso Davies and Alistair Johnston that aren't really that inverted, which means the middle of the park is really just center backs, center mids, and the two strikers up top. I personally don't like the 4-4-2. I think it's outdated, and I think it does not highlight what is best about this national team. We'll talk about starting lineups next week when we preview the actual group stage, but I think this team is a proper ball-winning midfielder away from being a top 20 team in the world. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and that only happens if they play in like a 4-3-3 or in some kind of three-man midfield.
Or
it liberates
Eustáquio, diamond,
or even a diamond. I agree, because it liberates Eustáquio and Kone to be the game breakers that they are, without shackling them to the defensive side of the ball. With all that said, that's why I'm giving it a B minus, not on technique, but purely on how I think they're going to be used.
Okay, that's fair though. That's very fair, Elias, that you bring that up, because that's not a question I actually had, but I think it's important. Hadi, I'll let you answer. We'll finish the midfield, and then before we get to the forwards, I do want to ask a question about the coach, Jesse Marsh. We do have to talk about him, about this tournament. He just got renewed for 4 years, right?
Yeah,
so it's through the next World Cup, right? It's not
exactly, but there's, I mean, a lot of people can be happy about that. I think it's a good sign, but we have to talk about it, right? Is it really the best thing for this team? Is it really what this team needs to get to the next level, to actually winning World Cups and being taken like a serious...
winning World Cups? Hey, Oscar,
winning World Cups. So
let's.
If I'm gonna be on Canada's side, I'm gonna be 1,000% on Canada's side. All right. If not, I'm gonna go back to Peru. Anyways, let's go ahead and do the same exercise we did for the defenders. So, Hadi, I think I had started with you. So, is there anyone you're keeping a close eye on for the midfield, or any player that you needs this tournament to go well for them?
I'm maybe gonna shock everyone here, but I would say Ismail Kone.
Mm-hmm.
The reason behind it is that we all saw what happened to him in Marseille. Of course, this was bad. It was bad, and I'm not gonna point fingers at De Zerbi or at Kone, but at the end of the day, it's gonna affect both of them, right?
And they're both at fault, let's be honest here.
Exactly. Like, I'm not gonna go into this, but perception-wise, both of them are affected, right? At the same time, he went to Sassuolo. Sassuolo is a mid-table team in Serie A right now. They were at one point, fighting for the European places. They're not really anymore since Gasperini left. He needs, for his career, to go to a higher profile club. And he has what it takes to be in a higher profile club. By the way, he is being rumored at Juventus, which would be amazing.
And Inter.
And yeah, at Inter. But from what I heard, from what I read, because I didn't hear anything, what I read, Juventus was closer to.
I think it'll be better for him. There's less competition.
True. But he needs to have a good World Cup, because if he doesn't,
we're back to square
interests are gone. So it's as simple as that. I think the rest have proven everything that they need to prove. Maybe Eustáquio is in the same the same bowl and the same predicament. But yeah, for me, Ishmael Kone.
Lies.
I agree with Hadi, but it not in the same way. I think that the player I'm watching the most is Nathan Saliba, because at Anderlecht it was a bit of a rocky start, but he finished the season very well. And I think that, even if Anderlecht didn't have the season that they were supposed to have and they didn't play that well individually, it was a good year for him. And I think he cemented himself as, since they play in a double pivot or in a two-man midfield, he cemented himself as in that Luc de Fougerolles slot where he is right behind. He is the first sub on the field. I think he should be no matter what. I think he's gotten ahead of Mathieu Chouanière. I think he's gotten ahead of Jonathan Osorio for sure. And so in that spot right now, that's his. And I think that he has the biggest jump to take, right? Kone and Eustachio are unquestionably starters when everybody's healthy. And so I don't think that that's much of a debate. But Nathan Saliba is hungry, he's talented, and he brings something completely different in the way that he plays and what he can do on the field. He can be that ball-winning midfielder, that metronome, that six presence behind. And again, if they were to go into a three-man midfield, he would be the one that makes it in there. So I think I'd love to see what he can do either off the bench or if they're rotating the squad in the World Cup, because again, it's a very demanding tournament, and I think that he's going to have a monster role in this tournament. The player I think needs to have the best tournament is Steven Eustachio, for one simple reason: the loan at LA did not work. Right, the loan is done. He's going back to Porto. Porto itself, the last 2 years, have not been good to him. He cemented himself as a starter in Porto, and now he's, fallen out of favor. That's the whole point of the loan to LA. So right now he's kind of, it's not in a free fall, right? He's still established as a top midfielder and is a very capable player, especially at the European level. But right now he kind of needs that boost in legitimacy and validity that a good, solid World Cup will bring him, especially when you play against powerhouses like Switzerland, especially when you play against a very demanding defensive block like Bosnia. If you can kind of be the maestro that unlocks that, you're going to look like $1 million. And so I think he needs to have, he's definitely the person that has the most to gain and the most to lose with this tournament, because he needs that momentum for the rest of his club career. We didn't really talk about the wingers, right? But Hadi made a good point. Right now, Liam Miller, I was not Liam Miller's biggest fan. But
yeah,
honestly,
I know. I remember.
Right,
he's been great
could
this
not.
year.
But ever since he came back from that ACL injury, he's been a completely different player.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I saw someone tear their ACL and come back more dynamic and more energized and more productive. It's fantastic. So I'm thrilled to see that. And it almost, not completely, but it almost kind of dissipated my concerns with the fact that Ali Ahmed is unavailable and now Marcelo Flores is out for the tournament and out for 12 months. So Liam Miller is fantastic. Now the depth will come into question, and that might be a bit of a sore spot. That's also another reason that I gave it a B-. But Tejan Buchanan on one side and Liam Miller on the other side.
Can we talk about his amazing season, Tejan Buchanan, when you finish? It's not normal.
Like I said, Steven Eustachio, he needs to have this good tournament. But if you look at Tejan Buchanan, right, who had a nightmare at Inter because he was underutilized and also just played in the wrong position. Just like really in Canada with the 3-back, he was played as a right wing back. It's not his preferred position. But he goes to Villarreal and he gets played as a right winger, and all of a sudden he's one of the deadliest wingers in Spain.
Guys,
he helps them secure Europe. He helps them, not dominate in Europe. They had a nightmare in Europe, but he helped them dominate in La Liga, especially in the opening 2 or 3 months when they were keeping pace with Barcelona and Real Madrid.
And 7 goals and an assist in 34 games as a starter.
And he's played almost every game. He's been a vital part of that team. Him getting to the next level, especially given how your value skyrockets, especially if you're a relatively unknown player on the big stage. You have a good World Cup, your value goes through the roof.
Yeah,
in a World Cup.
True.
You bag 2 or 3 goals in the group stage, and then all of a sudden you're getting sold for $50 million. That's just the way the market works. But not just that, it's the eyeballs, it's the value, and all of a sudden Tejan Buchanan is in that next tranche of wingers. And I think he also needs to have a really good World Cup because that's the next step. That's the next logical step for him. And people are going to stop playing him wing back because he has the profile of a wing back and just put him on the wing where he belongs.
I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Alfonso Davies because I think he's a very, very important player for the Canada national team. But at the same time, I feel like he hasn't had necessarily moments in games for Canada where he's shown necessarily what he's shown with Bayern Munich, where he literally takes hold of the game and can control, be impactful. Has he made a difference? 100%. I don't disagree with that. But I do think that I want to see him produce more and be more of a game changer and use what he's done so well at Bayern Munich and use it when playing for Canada, because I think he can, and I think he can do more than he's shown. I think he kind of takes sometimes his foot off the pedal because in Bayern Munich, obviously, you're surrounded by very talented players as you are in Canada as well, but there's a lot more pressure on him than he has in Bayern.
Yeah,
so
I agree with you, Andy, and
so
I think you should tell him less is more. This is what you need to say to Alfonso Davies.
I think that's
Well, I
always
mean,
been
there's
the
a-
problem with Alfonso.
there's
That's
a lot
always
of
been the problem with
pressure.
Davies, though, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of
And I
pressure on
think-
him, though. I mean, he's the front cover of the team, guys. Okay, like he really does because he plays for
He is
such a
the
big
best
club.
player of the team. Let's face
Yeah,
it.
no, he's
Yeah.
world class. He's the only world class player on the team.
Yeah.
So,
But like you mentioned, Hadi, sometimes for that kind of player, less is more because you will attract so many defenders just by your speed, just by your presence, and just by literally running around in circles. You attract because you are so talented. You are a name. But the player that I think, this might surprise you guys, the player that I think needs this tournament to go well for them is Jacob Schaffelberg. I don't know if he'll play a minute or two or three. I don't know if he'll play any minutes. But the reason why I think this tournament needs to go well for him is because at 26 years old, I think it's a moment where he needs to, if he's given 5 minutes of one game, he needs to show that he is the best player in the world during those 5 minutes because he's been, right now he's with LAFC. I haven't checked his stats to see how he's
He's been
playing.
injured a lot.
He's been injured a lot,
barely
right? And
played,
that's kind of been the story the past few seasons for him too. Like he seems to be going on a run and then he gets injured, so his minutes get reduced. So I think if he got selected for the World Cup, you need to eat up those minutes that they give you, be it again 1 minute, 2 minutes, and prove that at 26 years old, you're at your prime. You're at your prime, and you can contribute in an MLS team
Yeah.
or maybe a European team.
I agree with you, Andy, 100%. But I'm going to tell you something. In my opinion, he's going to be dropped. He's not going to be in the World Cup. So, because don't forget that Jesse Marsh is allowed to change his players up until 24 hours before the first
before
game.
game one. Yeah.
So until June 11th, he's allowed to change his players. And honestly, I don't think he'll make it, Schaffelberg, because like he has too many injuries in midfield, and he only played 6 games in MLS this season, only 2 starts. I don't think he'll make it.
He is a special
But I
talent,
agree
though.
with you.
But if
The
not,
thing is, they're gonna have to add 2 wingers. He has to add 2 wingers now. Think about it, right? Jesse Marsh.
Yeah.
He has to replace Marcel Flores. And if you think that Jacob Schaffelberg's not gonna get selected, that's another winger that has to get added. We talked about Jim
Unless-
Nelson. We talked about Russell Rowe. Those are 2 names that
Yeah.
I think are in
You
the
have
mix.
Hoylett too. You have your Hoylett too. Right?
Junior Hoylett's experience, and like again, I was a big advocate for Hoylett,
Yeah.
taking a step away with all the young talent, but
Now you don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice. But B, he's versatile. He can play up top or on the wing, and also, honestly, I haven't hated his last few international
No,
windows.
he's been okay.
He's
yeah.
been decent.
okay.
Like, and again, it's like between him and Liam Miller, I'm like, where were these guys last World Cup? They were ghosts.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden now, even last Copa America, they were ghosts. And now all of a sudden, the last year or so, they've been on top of their shit. So I'm like, you know what? Get in there.
all right. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the forwards. So where we have Jonathan David, that plays in Juventus Serie A. We have Promise David, who plays in the Union SG Pro League in Belgium. I'm not going to include Marcelo Flores. Obviously, we all learned that of his injury. And Kyle Lyron, that is from Southampton, Championship England. And Tani Oluwaseyi from Villarreal, La Liga Spain. All right, same drill, guys. What grade do you give this position and why? Elias.
Jonathan David's doing a lot of heavy lifting here. Because if Promise David is not fit, this is like
But
a
he
C.
is. But
Promise,
he is.
he's
He's a
not
monster,
100%.
man.
No,
He's
no,
a
no, no, no.
monster.
I mean, healthy, ready, and
he
match fit.
is. He is. He's a monster.
Is he though?
He is.
He's had
I'm
injury
telling you,
problems
he
this
is.
season. If
He just had
he's
one
healthy,
injury that was pretty bad, but one injury.
it's significant, right? You know, Marcel Flores just has one injury. You know, whatever.
Yeah, true.
Right? It's not to the same
Poor
degree
guy,
as
man.
Flores,
ACL,
obviously.
Horrible.
ACL, and MSL, both of them. Like what? The
Well, because it's almost impossible to just tear your ACL. As
Yeah.
as the podcast resident knee expert, usually when you tear one, you tear the other.
Sorry,
It's
man.
just that the ACL is the foundational one, and the other one is just like it's like the
Sport.
appendix of the knee.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's just kind of
Guys,
there.
I've seen that happen
Um,
in every sport: hockey, baseball, soccer. When you get that non-contact and your knee goes like that, and
Oh,
you're
the second I
just,
saw the clip, I knew he was done. The
Yeah,
millisecond
Yeah,
I
for
saw the
sure.
clip.
you
right?
don't even have
So,
to
yes.
see the knee. You just see the player's reaction around him and his
Yeah.
face, and you're like, he knows that he's out. Sorry, go on now, guys.
And anyway, you know, he played well this year. Promise David. I think Promise David and Jonathan David up top, because that's just how Jesse Marsh wants to play. I think that's a B. If he's match fit, but he's not match fit because he hasn't played in a while. He hasn't played like 2 months.
Just to be, man. You.
He hasn't played in 2 months. Because if Kyle Laren is up there, then it's definitely a B. If Daniel Wasey he's up there, who has not had the same run of games as Tajon Buchanan at Villarreal, even though I think he's had
37
an okay
games.
season. Yes, but he's been
37 games.
mostly as a sub, though.
No. At first, he was a starter when he joined.
At first,
yeah.
yeah. He had a good start
But
to the
still,
season.
37
back when-
games, 7
but
goals, 2
Villarreal
assists.
fell off a cliff, right?
All right,
And-
so
and
let's
so
test. Let's test the difference here. Elias, what's your grade?
I
There's no
think
difference. We're just having fun.
fully fit and ready. This is a B minus. I think right now it's a C plus. That's
Oh
Oh
wow!
my god! Even
wow.
David didn't have that good of a
C
season at Juve.
plus.
Even
Yeah, I
Jonathan
agree.
David had a
I
rough
agree.
season at Juve.
I
So
agree.
you take
I
all
agree.
those things. Look. If everyone is match fit and on their best, if you take like last
I
year's
agree.
Promise David, you take like 2023 Jonathan David. This is an A.
I
Right?
agree. I agree.
But
I
right
agree.
now-
100%. I'm not giving them an A. For me,
B-
it's a B.
I'm gonna go with B
plus.
minus. C plus is a harsh. I'm gonna go B minus.
Yeah. Okay. For me, it's a B plus, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's very simple. All those 4 players, even Promise David, have had one of the best seasons of their career.
Yeah.
In different ways. Yes, Jonathan David didn't have a good year, like production wise, but he's been as the best club in his entire career in
He made the
Juventus.
jump. He made the jump.
He
Yes.
made the jump from Lille to Juventus, and you know what? He did 8 goals, 5 assists. It's not that bad. Yes, it's not 20 goals, but it's not that bad in a Juventus team that sucked. Like complete,
Yeah.
they finished 6th in Serie A. So that they were really bad. So you have that. You have Promise David. For me, this guy is gonna sign in the Premier League this summer. 100%.
He is the perfect prem striker.
100%.
100%.
100%. This guy is a monster physically,
Mm.
and he's so good in front of goal. It's just not normal how good he is.
But like his technique is super underrated too.
Exactly. So I feel that you have this profile. At the same time, you have the veteran guy in Kyle Laren. Yes, he missed a lot. I know you don't like him, Elias, but he's still a player that brings his experience. And you know what?
He had a better
He's been red hot with Southampton since he joined them. Red hot. Like really, really good. So it wasn't a good fit for him in Feyenoord, but when he joined Southampton, 8 goals in 16 games in a championship. That's like 1 goal every 2 games.
No,
That's
a
how
great
good he
clip.
was. We found the Kyle Laren of Mallorca. We found him back in a second tier of English football. So, and then you have Daniel Oasi, again, the best club of his career, of his very young career. Let's say it.
Yeah.
And he's been playing Champions League football. Like, we
Yeah.
have 4 very good strikers. And you know what? Even if, let's say, Jonathan David is suspended or Jonathan David is injured, you have 3 other very good strikers. So at the same time, it relieves the pressure off Jonathan David. And when you have less pressure on Jonathan David, that's when Jonathan David is one of the best.
Yeah.
So
I agree. My big issue with Kyle Larin, and like because I agree with you that Kyle Larin is on fire. He's incredible. My issue with Kyle Larin with Canada specifically is that when you play in a 4-4-2, especially as a strikers, there's a lot of asked of you individually to create your own chances.
Of course.
Right. And because Kyle Larin is a classic poacher. His positioning is fantastic. He's got a great nose for goal. But when you ask him to do anything extra, that's when life becomes a little bit more difficult. And Tajon Buchanan and be it Ali Ahmed, be it Jacob Schaffelberg, or Jacob Schaffelberg's not going to start, but or be it Liam Miller, they're 1v1 specialists. They're not necessarily providers, and you don't have a 10. You have another striker next to you. So
Yeah.
there's that much more asked of Kyle Larin as an individual, where he's not really going to have the chance to be
I
used to the
agree.
best of his ability.
I agree if you're playing a flat 4-4-2. But
Jonathan
we
David,
are
il décroche un peu, I get it.
no, but
like,
1 second. That's not only that. You're forgetting that the wingers are able to play on the wing, but also in the middle. Like, they can cut inside. Buchanan, Miller, they can cut inside. You're
they
forgetting
don't do it
that,
often enough.
but you're forgetting that Ishmael Kone is someone that pushes the ball forward, dribbles forward, carries the ball forward, and that can help too. If you have Ishmael Kone that brings the ball forward, you have Jonathan David that drops off, that leaves Kyle Larin as a poacher in front, and that's where he's at his best.
I think we're gonna preview schemes and lineups more next week when we get closer to a tournament, because there's still some friendlies to watch and we'll get a clearer picture as to what it's gonna be. But just to finish off the forwards, same exercise that we did the last position. Is there anyone you are keeping a close eye on during the tournament, and which player needs this tournament to go well for them? Elias, go ahead.
I'm keeping a close eye on Promise David. Obviously, this is going to be his breakout tournament. This is his
100%.
debutant ball. He should, and I think he will establish himself as, like Heidi said, a monster. And he will probably get, if not a big money move or some kind of move to a top 5 league, definitely start getting linked to in a way that he should be. I think the player that has the most pressure on him to have a good tournament is Jonathan David, because he didn't have the tournament that he didn't have the season he was supposed to have when he finally got his big move. Right, he was finally supposed to be like, how long was he linked with a move away from Lille? For like 4 or 5 years. Everyone's like, oh, this is the year Jonathan David leaves, and he never did. He finally left, and it didn't go as planned. This tournament is kind of a rebound and maybe a reassertion of the fact that he is a world-class striker. Because remember, at Lille, he was competing with Mbappe, and he was competing with Cavani, and he was competing with Zlatan as the top scorers in Ligue 1. He was competing with the best strikers in the world as top scorers and beating them sometimes. So I think he has to kind of rediscover that Jonathan David, the one who just shoots more. Because honestly, with Canada, given that he's been given this responsibility to drop in a little bit more, he's almost like dulled his senses. I think he just has to start shooting the ball more.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jonathan David. That was my player that I wanted to keep an eye on, because even if you look at the Copa America, that's the best result for Canada in his maybe not its history, but in the last maybe 10, 15
I think
years.
It's the best result in their history, honestly.
I'm not gonna dish the winners of the Gold Cup in 2085. So like, that's why for me, like, I can't say it's the best result because they won the Gold Cup twice, right? But at the same time, he only scored 2 goals during that Copa America, and one of the goals was in the 3rd place game. So for me, he scored 1 goal. So you were here, Jonathan David, to bring goals to Canada, and you need to do it in those high intensity games. And for me, when you play in a team like Juventus, you need to show them that you have what it takes to score goals in high intensity games every week. So why are you laughing?
Because the lineup just dropped.
Okay, let's
okay,
hold on,
good.
hold
For
on, hold on, hold
Canada.
on.
Hold on.
And
Hold
it's
on.
just
Hold
it's,
on.
it's
So
very funny.
All right.
Okay, let's go. Let's
So,
go.
but before I get into it, because I didn't get my grade for the forward, so
Go.
I'm gonna be harsh.
As usual.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna give him a C plus. I'm gonna go to original what Elias origin gave. Why? Because on paper and individually, all these players, as you guys went on about, are fantastic. They're great. But tell me, what have they done for Canada? Have they been
They finished third in the Gold Cup, in the Copa
First,
America.
okay?
fourth.
But are they
Oh, they beat
the
Uruguay, no?
players to lead you to the World Cup? Are they to lead you to the final? Do you trust in anybody in that list or anybody together to be able to win the World Cup for you?
Win the World Cup? No, I trust the Davids to get them
No,
into the
man.
round
But
of
isn't that
16.
what we need? Isn't that the kind of squad we
No.
need?
But Andy, you have to be pragmatic, right? You
Yeah.
don't go from never scoring a goal in
To
the
winning the
history
World
of your
Cup.
national
Like, come
to
on.
winning the World Cup.
It's like
You
Peru
have-
winning the World Cup. It's impossible.
like first the expectation is
Cut off.
qualify for the knockout round, right? For the first big test, qualify for the knockout round, ideally in the top two, maybe even win the group.
How do you want to talk shit about Peru?
After that, right, when you take a look at 2030, then you can start saying, okay, if everything's going on schedule, look to try and make the quarterfinals, right? But it has to be steady. And then you start to establish yourself as a dark horse, as a Turkey, as a Morocco, as a Chile, right? As a team that can surprise somebody
don't
on
say
their
Chile
day,
in
as
the
a Croatia.
But listen,
Okay. No,
No,
PSG, no Chile. Okay.
honestly,
I just said Turkey. You think I can't say Chile, bro? Come on.
Yeah, true.
but
No, honestly, just to answer you, Andy, I understand your point. Like for you, you're looking for greatness. We're not there yet, right? Like we need first to score a point in the World Cup. Like that's where,
but am I looking for greatness? I don't think I am.
like,
I'm looking for
You're
players
asking them
that
to win the World Cup, though.
like
I'm-
it's too high of a step, right? Right now, the objective of Canada, the first objective will be to score a first point. Then will be to score the first win, and then is to advance to the next round.
So then is my grade harsh?
Very harsh.
I mean, you guys answered it yourselves. I'm not being harsh.
Agree to disagree.
You guys, you should see your faces right now. You're like, what to do?
But
All right.
when we grade these players, it's also with the understanding that there's certain expectations. If you put this team in, Curacao, everyone is an A. If you put this team in France, everyone is a D, right? So there's certain expectations that you put it in Canada, which is more of a middle ground. I feel like across the board, it's a B in this roster.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a C plus. I stick by it. I might be wrong, and they might, or I might be right. Maybe at the
Honestly,
end of the
there's
tournament,
no right and wrong. There's no right and wrong, Andy. It's our opinions, and we're allowed to not have the same opinions.
There is only right or wrong. Okay, there is no in between.
Yes. And
Okay.
I'm right.
Peru sucks. I'm right.
He keeps cutting off. It's so funny. With Canada's being hit by the injury bug. We just mentioned Marcelo Flores and a bunch of players that are also coming back from injury. Heidi, you shared with us yesterday, there was a screenshot of how long a lot of these players have been out of action. Which absence worries you guys the most? And at this stage, would the team be better off moving forward when maybe some of those key names, rather than risking bringing them back, players who maybe aren't fully fit? What do you guys think of that? How do y'all start with you?
Which one worries me the most is Alphonso Davies. It's as simple as that. Like, guys, I don't think we can understand. I understand he does a lot, too much sometimes in games, but at the same time, it's the only world-class player we have. I think it's the only world-class player in CONCACAF. I don't think there's a better player than him.
Absolutely.
So at the same time, like you're someone that's not that doesn't only carries the nation, but also carries the region. And not being fit for me worries me a lot when you really need it. We really need him to be good in the second and third game. And when I say good, he doesn't need to score 3 goals. He doesn't need to score. He just needs to be a world-class left back. That's all I'm asking him. right? So for me, that's who worries me a lot.
Elias, is there any injuries in particular that worry you? Maybe some players that you will leave behind because of how much they've
No,
been out
no,
of
I
action?
wouldn't leave them behind because even 20 minutes or 30 minutes of Alfonso Davies, or 20 or
Yeah,
30 minutes of Ali Ahmed, or Promise David if he's not 100% fit, or any of the 45,000 other Canadian players that are injured. Um, I think that having them even as a sub is so important. And like Hadi said, they bring their quality just by being themselves, and hopefully by not doing too much. That's also why I think the best bit of coaching Jesse Marsh has done since he took over was simplifying Alfonso Davies' role. Because under John Herdman, he was the end all be all of this national team. They had him play wing back, and he had to score, assist, create, defend, and do 45 and just do a bunch of other stuff when he physically cannot. Right. So I think that keeping them on, even if it's just as a substitute role until they're fully fit, is super valuable.
All right, and just to finish the section of Canada, Canada soccer, we'll just as Elias mentioned, the starting lineup dropped, and then we're gonna move on to FC Supra. Finish the show with FC Supra and Roses FC. So go ahead, Elias, if you can just show us the starting lineup for the matchup. We got Maxime Crepeau at goalie,
yeah,
Richie Larea,
For 45 minutes.
Derek
yeah.
Cornelius, Moise Bombito, Alistair Johnston, Steven Eustachio, Ismail Kone, Ian Miller, Tajan Buchanan, Kyle Laren, and Jonathan David. All right, so
For me, that's
yeah,
the
instant
starting
reaction.
11. That's the starting 11 of Jesse March as of today. If he had his first World Cup game, this would be his starting 11. This is what I see when I look at this team. This is what I see. Now, it can change in those two friendlies, and we'll see. And don't forget that he said that, as I said, the second half will have a new goalie, but also will have other substitutions. He said expect in the second half to see major changes.
Of course.
So,
Yeah.
just to let you know. Do you have anything
Elias?
to add, Elias?
Other reaction to
Look,
the starting lineup?
this is the healthiest starting 11. I think it's also
Yeah.
important to remember, right? Nobody here, except for Richie Larea, nobody here has just come back from injury, right? So I think that's also a very important thing to consider, that, if you're giving some of the other people that just came back from injury half an hour, then that's fine. But if you want to play people again against Uzbekistan, which is not an easy opponent, it's going to be a very resolute opponent, and they're on the come up. If you're going to give them an hour, I'd rather it be people that have been playing all season and are fit and are match ready to play an hour than someone who hasn't played in 4 months that's playing his first bit.
Perfect. So let's go before we go into the Supra and Roses. Let's give a quick shout out to our partners over at Impact Essentials. Thanks, first of all, for sponsoring us. That's very, very interesting for us. But guys, if you're looking to upgrade your daily routine, I have a beard and sometimes I do need to upgrade it.
Beautiful.
It is the place to do it. Impact Essentials is a Montreal-based premium grooming brand specializing in high-end, all-natural beard with some absolutely incredible scent profiles. We're talking coffee-infused whiskey, whiskey flavor, tobacco, cognac, and more. It honestly turns your morning routine into a full-on ritual. And you know what? That's amazing. Feels good. And for those without a beard, like my friend Andy, don't worry. They've got a new line coming very soon. So just make sure to follow their social medias. Stay tuned for that launch. And if you're interested in doing that and just, taking care of your beard like Elias and me, go show them some love at impactessentials.ca. And don't forget to use our promo code TBIR to save 15% off your order. Every purchase helps support our show, but also support Impact Essentials, and we truly appreciate it. That's promo code TBIR for 15% off your next order.
I don't know, man. It felt a little bit personal when he's talking about people with beards, and some people.
Yeah, it's okay.
Look, I've been trying for the past 36 years to
besides
grow a
calling
beard.
you out by name, what was personal about it?
I'm so hurt in this show. All right, so we're gonna move on to FC Super to Quebec.
Yeah.
Elias, did you have a clip for us?
I don't have a clip for you.
Fun, fantastic. All right, so FC Superpower. FC Superpowered passed Inter Toronto on a rain-soaked night at Stade Boreal, securing a thrilling 3-1 victory in a match interrupted by a fun little rain delay. And thank you, Elias, for having the graphic up. So let's go ahead and look at the lineup. We have Mili in the goalie. We had Auguste, who was on the show. Charles Auguste was on the show with us this week. Kichan Ferdinand, Mathis Chrétien, and Abzi on the left back. We had Emla and Bouganmi in the midfield, as well as Caboret, Rea, and Chouanière in the top, with Kwemi as the 9. All right. So, boys? I'll start with you, Hattie. What was your thoughts overall of the game?
Amazing game. Honestly, guys, we're playing against a team that was unbeaten in the CPL, that had the best score in the CPL, and so many good players. And don't forget, guys, you have a lot of depth in Inter Toronto FC. You have on the bench, you had Oli Bassett that came in the second half. The guy was the player of the year in 2022 for the CPL. And he was a Golden Boot in 2023. You have so many good players on that team, and you know what? We crushed them. We completely crushed them by winning 3-1. Crushed them. And one more thing, they had 2 Canadian international in Stirring and Cordova, and they had 2 big names missing, of course, with Shola Jimo with the U20 Canadian national team, and of course the big and the amazing Gabriel Bittard, who's playing with Lebanon for the next qualification game for the Asian Cup next week.
Elias?
I had to say it.
All over the place today, man.
No, I'm not all over the place.
Good to have you back, bro.
I'm not all over the place. Why am I all over the place?
This guy, Elias. What were your thoughts of the game of the Super Duke?
It was the best game they've played all season. Both sides of the ball. You know, that one goal they conceded was a bit of a broken play. That that's just a quality striker. That's gonna make you pay if you give him enough room. But both sides of the ball were fantastic. Usually when it rains, especially on a garbage turf, it makes the more technical team have a harder time to control the game and really use their best of their abilities. They kept the ball under control. They kept the game under control for all 90 minutes. I was really impressed. There was never really any even when they pulled back 2-1, there was never really any sense of concern that, they might really tie this up or Toronto might make a comeback. No. And then they did a great job of killing the game and adding a third through Sean Rea. But the first 2 goals, again, bangers, right? It puts the individual quality that this team has also on display. Safwan Mla, who's been shooting every chance he gets all season, got his deserved banger because that was fantastic. Louis Kwemi, who's been trying that shot every single time he gets in the box. He's been trying that near post shot into the roof of the net all season, and he finally got it. But again, it's just such, and not even just the goals, the way they control. They could have scored at least 5 or 6 goals. They played Toronto off the pitch completely. Toronto had no answers. They looked every bit the team that lost to Saint Laurent. That got knocked out by Saint Laurent. They were ineffective. They left gaps everywhere, and Super happily exploited them. And it was by far for me the best game of the season for them so far.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Honestly, I think there were moments in the game that I felt that FC Super were maybe not at their best. It was also a difficult day with the rain and everything, but that was both teams were getting affected by that. But I really thought that Inter Toronto played a terrible game. They had a very, very bad game, and FC Supra capitalized on the opportunities that Inter Toronto gave, and they did a very good job of capitalizing. When you talk about the goal scorers, I think all 3 goal scorers, Sean Rea, Emla, and Kwemi, needed the score just to kind of get back on track and kind of gain that confidence. But it was a solid win. Again, I think that Inter Toronto continued shooting themselves in the foot. That one score that they had, I do think that was a little bit of a lapse in the defensive back line, especially with Abzi seemed to kind of be staring. I'm not sure what exactly he was doing there, But overall, just an opportunity that FC Super saw and took and capitalized, and that's pretty much the summary of the game. I mean, would you guys say that this was FC Super? I know, how do you? Sorry, Elias. I know you said this was FC Supra's best game of the year. I mean, I don't want to say you're wrong, but at the same time, Inter Toronto didn't really play their best game, so it's hard to kind of judge
because we
FC
played
Supra.
so.
I think it's part Toronto having an off day and part Super playing really well. You have to also remember this is a playoff team. This is a perennial playoff team, and it's a team that right now is in fourth place in the CPL, right? So it's not like you're playing a team that's down on their luck and has been playing crap all season and never really does anything. No, this is, even when they were York, they were still a force to be reckoned with, and Supra made them look amateurish.
Fair. Hadi, would you? Well, nothing. You already gave your thoughts on the game, so we're gonna move on to top and flop of the game. Who was your Hadi? Well, who was your top and who was your flop of the game?
And I'm the one that's all over the place, right?
I'm all over the place.
My top. I'm not gonna be very very creative with my top and my flop, and you know what? It was so obvious for me that it was Safwan Mla.
Yeah,
he was everywhere on the pitch. Everywhere. Yes, he scored a goal. Yes, he was named player of the game at the end. But it's not only that. Like the chances that he created, he should have scored maybe one or two more. But he was so good in this role. And honestly, hats off for him. I think we're getting somewhere with Safwan Mla with the Super FC. For the flop. Again, I'm not going to surprise everybody, but honestly, I understand he's 36-year-old, but Bugani, he needs to bring that experience with that team. And honestly, you know that your team has a problem in midfield. You know that you don't have enough players, and then you get a stupid red card. Like, dude, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, you're supposed to be that guy that brings the experience, that brings everything, and that brings everybody together, that helps the team whenever he can. And now he's just shooting the team in the foot just because he got that red card. Now, what are we going to do in the next game? We're in
Biello's still out. Biello's still
out.
He'll have to serve his last game of suspension. By the way, we didn't really talk about it. Alessandro Biello's suspension off a red card for dissent was upgraded from 2 games to 4
games. Yeah.
I don't know what that man said.
We don't know what he said, but honestly,
but I don't think he just said "fuck you." I don't think. I don't. If you,
you'd be surprised. Sometimes
I'm sorry.
Sometimes referees
2 games
are
to begin. Oh, you getting sent off is one thing, but 2 games off rip and then you get it upgraded. This man said some shit.
Yeah.
I don't know what he said. This man said something.
I don't know.
Top and flop of the game.
My top. I mean, Safamla obviously was fantastic. I'm going to give it to David Chouanière, who has had some inconsistency in his game so far this year, but I think one of the things I like most about him is he is a player that sometimes is safe to a fault, but he doesn't make mistakes. And today he was fantastic. On Friday he was fantastic. He picked up an assist, which is also nice. It's always good to kind of get on the score sheet, especially if you're having a bit of a rough time. But he's such an important player to this team, both from experience and from pure technical quality, that I'm just happy for him. And also, I love him on the left. I know that maybe naturally he's more comfortable on the right, but that 1-2 punch with him and Ziadine Abzi on the left side of the field is brutal. It's so tough to defend against because they complement each other so much. So I'll give him my top. He was great. I have to agree with Hadi. Everyone else played fantastic. And the worst part is, like, I don't even think that he had a pretty good first half. Osama Bouganmi had a pretty solid first half. But you're one of the leaders on this team. You put yourself in such a bad position. If I had to pick one, it's obviously going to be him, because it was, like you said, it was unnecessary, and it made, in a season where they've already done so many things to make their lives more complicated, be it through not being able to finish or leaving gaps at the back or getting sent off, you just did it again. And so I'm disappointed, especially because he was finally looking comfortable. Other times where he was playing, he didn't look too at home. This was the first game, like, okay, we're finally getting to see Usama Buganmi that was promised to us. And now, he does that. So it's unfortunate for him.
I'll say that my top performer was Sean Rea, just because, as he does every game, his technical ability is next level.
Yeah.
But he played it so well, and he finally scored on a shot, because I've been very critical of his shooting ability in practice and in games, that he seems to do everything well between the boxes, but he cannot shoot. But he actually scored a goal, which was important, and he dominated the game. Guys, Sean Rea runs from left to right so easily.
He was all over the
Dude,
place.
he's player of the season right
He
now.
dictates
League
For
wide.
sure.
League wide, he's the player of the season.
He dictates the game. He is Supra's offense right now.
Yeah.
He is the one that chooses what Supra offense does, and that is such an important role to have, and it's so hard to replicate. Even other teams like CF Montreal have a hard time finding a Sean Rea who can dictate a whole game. My flop is going to be Cabore on the right side.
Really?
Yeah, he had a terrible
How
game.
dare
Did we watch the same game, guys? Because
How
he,
dare
I thought he was pretty good.
I like
love
his
Michael
cut
Cabore's
inside.
game.
I like how he cuts inside, but
Okay.
his first touch frequently leads to a turnover. He's young, he's not the youngest, but he's not the oldest either. But I think he's still kind of learning the scheme or his teammates or whatnot. But right now, sometimes it's a little tough to watch him. I'm not gonna say he's the worst player that day, because Toronto again had a terrible day. But for me, I expect so much more from him, because also when I see him in practice, he seems like another player. But then when he goes to game, I don't know if it's the nerves. I don't know what's going on, but sometimes it just seems like he literally trips over himself sometimes, and it's kind of tough to see.
I'm so
But-
offended. How dare you?
All right, guys.
He's one of my revelations of the season, man. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, I like his game.
I
too, but
love
you know
what he brings. He still needs to refine some elements of his game.
Exactly, I
think just
agree. I
pure
agree with
raw
some
talent,
of the things that.
Oh
yeah,
my god, his ceiling is
yeah,
enormous.
very
I think
high. But
he's so
but
fun
I
to
agree
watch.
with some of the things that Andy said. Yes, his
Yeah, like
first
he needs to become a
sometimes-
bit more clinical. He needs to be a bit more concise with his gameplay. But just in terms of being able to break a game open or break a side of the field open, unbelievable.
I wish I could
Unbelievable.
say opinion and be right.
There's no
Well,
right or
it-
wrong, man.
Well, Andy, if
Stop
you want to
it.
be right, then be right, But now you're wrong. So how dare you?
There's
Oh,
no
Jordan-
right or wrong.
That bitch one, yeah. Okay, everybody. All right, so quick
You
little
just-
message for y'all before we move on to the last subject, Rose FC. If you like the ball is round, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss Elias, Hattie, and I's beautiful face on the screen on Monday nights. And it really helps the show grow and keeps us bringing more content every single week. And don't forget, drop your thoughts on the comments. We've already had some comments throughout the show. What did you make of FC Supra, of Roses FC, of CF Montreal's or the Canada men's national team performance? What needs to change? What stood out to you? We read the comments, and we want to hear from you. Make sure you are also following us on all of our socials for daily updates, clips, and breaking takes covering everything CF Montreal, Rose FC, and FC Super de Quebec, as well as the Canada men's national team during the World Cup. All right, last topic of the day, Rose FC. Let's go ahead and look at the lineup.
I just realized I could turn your camera off remotely because I'm admin. So keep acting up and see what happens, Andy. keep acting up.
At goalie, we have Anna
Breathe.
Karpenko.
Yes, do your breathing exercise, Andy. Do your breathing exercises first.
You guys see this? This is the brain that's popping. All right. So at defense, we had Valerie Seto and Valerie Seto. Then we had Lucy Capadonna, Stephanie Hill. At the right middle, we had Cherim, Charlot Bibo, Chloe Minas in the middle, as well as left middle, Megan Sauvé. In the top, we had Lisa Pechersky, Tanya Boychuk, and Evelyn Bennett. Okay,
Elise
so Elise
Elise,
Bennett, sorry,
Elise.
Elise Bennett.
You
Tweaks and
always
goes
say
on, man.
Evelyn Bennett.
I messed up.
Like every show. Every show he says Evelyn
You want to
Bennett.
laugh even more? You want to laugh even more? I've messed
called
it up
her-
and
you
I've
called her
messed them up in front of them too.
No
Oh,
way.
Jesus.
Wait, you're Elise, right? No, you're Evelyn. No, you're Hattie.
This
But that's
guy,
not the worst.
man.
That's not the
That's
worst.
alright.
Did you see Elias's with the Chuania's intro? All right, Mathieu, it was
All
great
right,
having you on the
man.
show.
You're crazy, man.
All right.
Wait,
All
Hattie,
right,
do you not know about this? Do you
we're
not know I
No,
did
I
that?
didn't know.
oh
I
Okay,
didn't
god.
know.
so funny bit of lore. Like 3 years ago, I called Mathieu David in a presser before they played each other. Before the Soignac Bowl, I literally go like, I go like, thanks, Tristan. Hi, David. Wait, no. So like, it was a nice full circle moment. So now I've messed up both brothers. It's great.
Okay,
It was
at
totally
least,
on purpose.
at
It's
least that.
It was
fantastic. You're the
definitely
greatest thing in the
intentional.
All right, so what did you guys think overall of the game? Rose FC unbeaten run came to an end at Stade Boreal as they fell 3-2 to the Vancouver Rise in a thrilling end-to-end contest. Guys, what were your thoughts overall of the game again over the weekend for Rose FC? How do y'all start with you?
Yeah, of course, it's very disappointing that we lost that game, but at the same time, it's very interesting because you can learn from what went wrong, and
Mhm.
it's nice to have an unbeaten run for that long, but at the same time, when you lose, that's how you learn. And in that game, the physical presence of the Rise had a big impact. They were running through them all the time. And because they were running through them, they completely made them lose their focus,
Mhm.
and all the time. And this is what was from the get-go. Since like the first minute of the game until the last minute of the game, you had that in the team, and that's something that Robert Rositoyo will have to address, because every team is going to watch that game and see exactly how you can beat the Montreal Roses. You need to put a lot of aggression, a lot of aggressivity in your play, and then you'll have a chance to beat them. That's exactly what I saw myself. Now, Abdul played in. She's so good, man. She's just like. It's just every time. Yeah, it's a bit like Tomori with the national team, man. And like, I see Latifa Abdul, and I'm like, man, why did you leave, man? Why? Like, what
Dude,
did you do?
this was the Latif Abdou game. I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping
Exactly.
in here, Hadi.
I agree.
But
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Latifa was carrying
Agree with you.
Vancouver. She did not get on the. I don't know if she had an assist. I believe she did have an
She
assist
assisted
in one of.
De Filippo's goal.
Yeah,
But if you look at the 3 goals that the Vancouver scored,
she was involved.
Latifa was all over that.
Yeah,
all over it.
100%.
And she was some. Look, I'll be honest. Latifa, when she was with the Roses, she didn't play much defense, and this was something that was brought up to her about how she needs to maybe be a little bit more involved in the defense when she plays. And I don't know if she necessarily took that well. So we saw it again in Vancouver when she was playing against the Roses. She doesn't play defense that much, and I guess again the instructions we don't know that she's given, but offensively, guys, Latif Abdul is a whole different level. She reads the game so differently, and she knows how she's dragging players. Hadi, you mentioned how Vancouver was running through Roses, but more than anything, it just seemed to know they just seem to know how to drag the Roses defenders out of position and really throw them off. And it's something, as you mentioned, Hadi, that it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed because it can't happen again. Because we saw last season a lot of the weaknesses were, a lot of the times where there were losses or moments, where Roses FC were playing fantastic games and then they were just lapses of concentration or bad decisions that were made defensively, or even we criticized a lot Anna Karpenko, some bad decisions she was making as a goalkeeper. We saw that against Vancouver on this weekend when they played.
We can't really blame Karpenko for the
No,
goal.
I'm not blaming her, but there were some decisions that she made where, again, Latif Abdul almost had a chance at goal because she took the ball away from Karpenko on a bad dribble. And these were mistakes from 2025. I came on this show last week saying how much Anna Karpenko has changed as a goalkeeper, because I think she has. But we saw a lot of 2025 Karpenko this past weekend, and that's something that's a little bit worrisome. Not the worst Roses game we've seen, but those lapses of concentration and the ability to let one player from the other team dictate, I think is a problem, and it shouldn't happen again this season. Elias, what do you think of the game?
This was inevitable. You mentioned that it can't happen again. It can happen again, and it will happen again, because we have to stop comparing this game with how the Roses played last season.
Yeah,
This is going to be life going forward. The Roses are throwing caution to the wind, and they're just going to try and straight up outscore you. That didn't happen this week. It happens, right? But almost every other time this year, they've been just as open. They haven't faced a team that is as capable on the counter. But since we saw this lineup and since we saw this new style of play under Robert Rosatoyu, we knew that the only way to beat the Roses on the counter is in transition, and Vancouver got it. But you also have to remember that this constitutes an off day for the Montreal attack. They got 2 goals, they hit 2 crossbars, and this is an off day, right? So as long as they don't make it a consistent problem, which again, with the amount of talent and depth that they have, won't be an issue. I was more concerned with the 2-2 draw than I was with this loss, because the 2-2 draw was systematic failures that we saw from last season. This loss was
that you're not going to compare with last season.
No, last week. Right? Last week, the 2-2 draw against Calgary was very much a 2025 Roses thing. This game here, sometimes you lose in soccer. You have all the shots, you have more chances, you have more this, more that, and sometimes the team that plays on the counter hits you back, and it happens. I'm not at all worried with a loss like this, because these losses like this are going to be inevitable. Robert Rosatoyu said it, right? You can't just go a full season undefeated like that, right? It's extremely rare, and you're going to lose games. It's part of soccer. So I think that this result as a whole doesn't concern me too much, because when you have, the amount of chances missed and the amount of close calls that you did, it happens. Sometimes you have to say, yeah, I got beat. But I don't think that this is going to bother the Roses too much, because this also feels mentally like a different team as well.
All right, and just to finish off the show here, we're just going to give our top and flop of the game, and then we're going to finish off because there's a game about to happen, right? And we all want to watch it. Hadi, I'll start with you, and then I'll say my top flop.
Yes, for sure. So, honestly, it was a tough exercise for me to choose the top and the flops. After a lot of debate, I chose Pechersky as a top. I think she's still the best. She was still the best player on the pitch for the Roses. And as a flop, I was hesitating between 2 players, but I decided to go with Thibault. I think, yes, she was a sub, but I think it was you, Andy, that said it last time, if I remember correctly. Like, unfortunately, she doesn't seem to understand where she plays, and I think that when she came into the game, we lost a bit of a structure as a team.
Yeah, I agree. So I'll say my top. My top was, I believe it was Sharim Kang. I don't think she was the best player in the field, but she was much better, and she connected really well with Lisa Pechersky.
Yeah, I agree.
Really well. So I think just that improvement makes me say that she's the top performer of the game. Obviously, you can talk about Lisa Pechersky, but we've said it week after week, guys. I'm sorry, and I discussed it with a bunch of media members at the game. She's at a different level. She's a whole different level. So my flop, I would say, it's kind of hard to say now, but probably Lucy Capadonna this game, because I felt, and honestly, if I can just choose the players, the whole defense I thought did not show up. I thought they had.
Now Seto got injured, right?
Yeah, and we saw the sub, which was really weird, but just the back line seemed disconnected, seemed lost, confused the whole game, and just weren't able to adapt to Vancouver's attack and what Latif Abdul was trying to do to them. So, yeah, just a flop from a defensive side from the team. Elias, go ahead and just finish that. Close us off.
I mean, it's the obvious answer, but Lisa Pechersky. She's just better than everybody.
Amazing.
She's also Bennett has established herself as like, you know, the goal scorer and like the star for sure, because you know you rack up goals obviously, but like Lisa Petrsky has the most assists in the league, and she's got joint most goal contributions, and she hasn't even hit her stride yet. She hasn't even hit her stride yet. That's the thing. She's not even playing at the best, like at the level she can play. So it's horrifying to think what she can do once everyone is on the same page. Because remember, right? They've played 6 competitive games together. Right, this entire new attack, half these players are have never played together, and so it's going to be fantastic once they really hit their stride in the middle of the season. There's also, after this game in Toronto, there's going to be 4 games in a row at home. That's also going to help a lot. Hopefully they can start winning games at home. But Lisa Petrsky is fantastic. I don't know why. Train of thought. My flop is the midfield, actually. I mean, Chloe Muniz had hit 2 crossbars.
One is the defense,
awesome.
the second is the midfield. We sucked.
I didn't say defense. I said defense.
He said defense. Yeah.
I said midfield because Chloe Muniz hit the crossbar twice, and those were outstanding. But as a unit, her, Charlotte Bibeau, and Laurie Thibault came in for half an hour. They did not break lines enough. They did not break down the low block that Vancouver set up, and they made the counterattack kind of possible because, you know, the more ineffective you are against a defensive block, the more momentum you give this team in transition. That's kind of what happened. So I think that they have to do better at really breaking down opposition and not just hitting it back, you know, in open space, because almost every single goal they scored this year has come from the flanks, be it the left or the right. And I haven't seen enough creation in the middle of the field, despite having 2 of the most technically proficient midfielders in the league. Right, Chloé and Charlotte Bibeau are fantastic on the ball. I need to see more of that. So, yeah, that's why they're my. I'm not gonna say flop. I'm gonna say disappointment.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, as you said, Elias, at one point they're gonna have to lose a game. So
exactly, it's just natural football. That being said, there is another game that we all have to get to because it is 8:59 right now. So that's going to do it for episode 206. It's 9 o'clock now. Oh my God. For episode 264 of the Ball is Round podcast. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. You guys have been fantastic crowd. We love talking about it with front of you guys. The podcast is free. The podcast will always be free. Of course, huge thank you to Arcadio for coming on the show, talking to us about a really cool project that we will be following. We will have we should have like a little Arcadio tracker on every episode. Just see like where's he at now. And but yeah, of course, the podcast is free. The podcast will always be free. However, we do have a Patreon if you guys want to lend a little bit of a helping hand. Even if you don't want to pledge money, you could join for free. We've got lots of cool stuff on there. We've got exclusive first looks at before it goes on YouTube, Spotify, wherever. You've got the first looks at interviews. We just have one with Charles Auguste that I got to sit down with, one of my favorite interviews I've ever done. He's a fantastic guy and a fantastic conversation. But we also got Op Watch for when, you know, club soccer comes back. We preview opposition with media from that team. We've got interviews. We've got all kinds of fun stuff with stuff from all over Quebec soccer, Canada soccer, and just general nonsense because we are just a couple of goofballs that love soccer. So again, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next week for the final preview for Canada's World Cup, episode 265. Thank you so much. And well, I can't say go Habs go anymore. So go Canada, tabarnak.
Go Canada!
Allez les rouges!